Wembenyama just put in his 10th, 12 for Middleton. Wembenyama, goes and puts it down!
Yeah. Wemby, pretty good. Pretty good at basketball. I don't know. That was pretty good. Let's watch it one more time without the call. Kevin Harlan, who rules. So, steal. Looks slow. Behind the back. Foul dunk. Nice. This is interesting to see. Daily Sports Podcast, news, narratives, takes, gambling, and our last Football Friday of the year for the regular season of the National Football League. Oh, how quickly it goes. What a preposterously fast year. Oh, man. So we'll get to our picks and whatnot in a little bit, but we're going to start with this report out of the Wall Street Journal that women's sports increase in popularity is the driving factor behind a new enormous deal between the NCAA and ESPN, $115 million a year. So in 2021, there was that viral video of the terrible workout conditions at the NCAA tournament. Now women's sports are accounting for something like 50-something% of the deal, of the coverage. One way to interpret that is that women's sports is getting more popular. Another 40 sports championships, so that's like bowling and stuff, like all of them. Through 2032, 57% or $65 million a year of the deal's value. That's one way to interpret that. Another way to interpret that is that a bunch of football and basketball are on competitive networks. I don't know if that's addressed in this article. It doesn't seem like it. However, it is true that women's sports have become more popular, and no greater example of that than Caitlin Clark at Iowa. My goodness, she is going off. That step back game winner. We watched some highlights from Caitlin right here. Just bananas. Her game is just out of control, and people like her, Angel Reese. There's a lot of hype between being good at sports and also being popular, being famous. It's a good thing for women's athletics. Let's watch the game winner here. It is crazy. Here it is on your screen. If you're watching this on Spotify or YouTube, 3 seconds left, 2 seconds, give it to Caitlin, and she's like, go whoop, bang. Unbelievable from her. Okay, let's get to some football stuff. Do you have anything else? Yeah. Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator from your Detroit Lions, has been ranked the number one coordinator by 1,700 NFL players that are part of the NFL Players Association or the union. He is the number one defensive coordinator and the number one overall coordinator, according to various reports and whatnot. Here is the list of coordinators. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilks, Dan Quinn, Brian Flores, Raheem Morris. Those are with San Francisco, Dallas, Minnesota, and the Los Angeles Rams, respectively. Steve Wilks expected to get a job, I think. Brian Flores might be getting a job. Top offensive coordinators, and this is ranked. The criteria are not just like who's the best one. It's like who do you want to play for, that kind of stuff. Frank Smith, Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers. Have not heard of that guy. Brian Schottenheimer, interesting. Brian Callahan. A lot of former head coaches here. Number 5, Kellen Moore, the top 5 special teams coordinators. Dallas, Carolina. Carolina's guy is also the interim head coach. Matt Daniels from the Vikings. Dave Phipp of the Lions, and Darren Rizzi of the Saints. I thought that was interesting. Aaron Glenn, expect him to get a head coaching job this offseason. Let's preview the weekend. Is there? Wait. Hold on. Is there more stuff I want to get to? Will Levis wants Tennessee fans, who are the fans of the University of Tennessee, he says they don't have to cheer for him because he went to Kentucky. He's like, I understand. I totally understand that. Robert Saleh said something really dickish about Zach Wilson. Quote, whether here or somewhere else, Zach Wilson will have a hell of a year. You don't believe that. I think that you're a bad coach. Sorry. Good defensive coordinator, but a bad football coach. Tyreek Hill's house was burning. It was live news. It was on CNN and some other things. It was started when a child was playing with a lighter. Don't play with matches, kids. Don't play with matches. Yeah, just stop that. Okay, let's get to our NFL weekend preview. The playoff scenarios are pretty interesting. Shouts to the New York Times for breaking it down better than a lot of other places. But here, we'll just go through the NFL situation. So, starting in the AFC, The Ravens have clinched the number 1 seed. The Dolphins are fighting for their division lives. The Bills are the third favorite team to win the Super Bowl. If they lose, they could be eliminated. They'll have a 65% chance of making the playoffs if they lose, 100% chance of making it if they win, at which point they could be the 2 or the 3 seed, probably the 2, because they have beat the Chiefs head-to-head. So, a lot on the line for them. The Steelers and the Texans are both 9-7. The Colts are also 9-7, so we got a logjam of teams that are 9-7. The Bills are 10-6, so if all of these teams go to 10-7, it could get really weird. So let's go through it. With a win, the Bills win the AFC East and clinch number 2 seed. Lose, Bills miss the playoffs. It's not necessarily true. It depends what else happens. The interesting scenarios with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need to win and they need help. It's going to be a really intense weekend. In the National Football Conference, the NFC, Niners have clinched number 1. Lions have clinched number 3 or possibly number 2. If the Cowboys lose and the Eagles win, it is indeed possible that the Lions could be the number 2, but I'm not 100% sure. Actually, they would be the number 3. If they both lose, the Lions could be the number 2. The Packers right now are in. Whether or not the Rams or the Packers could be playing the Lions or the Cowboys or Eagles is interesting. The Rams are sitting Matthew Stafford and a number of other players. They're just like, we're happy to be in. We clinched. Why? Who cares? The Seahawks are 8-8. They could get in. It's not looking great, though, 41%. The Saints are 48%. The Vikings and Falcons are hoping for utter chaos. It all comes down to whether or not the Bucks, 8-8, leading their division, win their game, which I believe is against the Falcons. I don't know. NFC South is a mess, an utter mess. It's the lottery to see who gets destroyed by the Eagles or the Cowboys in the first week of the playoffs. So let's go through this. The schedule is really important because a lot of these games are happening at the same time for a reason, right? So here's the early window. Let's do it. So the first game that will be played will be Saturday. 2 games on Saturday. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Baltimore's resting a ton of people, including the probable MVP Lamar. Pittsburgh needs to win and help to get in. Ergo, the number 1 team in the NFL is an underdog at home. Still kind of like them to win. Wouldn't bet on that game. Houston and Indianapolis, 2 9-7 teams. So the winner, this matters quite a bit. Houston is favored. C.J. Stroud versus Gardner Minshew. People like this, like, I'm going to take the better quarterback. I don't know, man. Indianapolis got a lot. I mean, it's a good ball club. Then, all of the games that are happening at the same time on Sunday. Atlanta and New Orleans, Cleveland and Cincinnati, Jacksonville and Tennessee. That's an irrelevant game, I think. Well, I don't know. If Jacksonville loses, AFC South gets weird. Do they lock it up? I don't know. Tampa, Carolina, the Jets and the Patriots, which is an irrelevant playoff game, but a mega relevant draft game. Super relevant. Very important to lose that game. It's so important to lose that game that maybe the Jets should play Zach Wilson. Haha, that's not true. He actually clearly gives them the best chance to win it, although I think he's out. So let's look at the draft order right now. Here are the New England Patriots, 3rd overall. Here are the New York Jets, 8th overall. If they lose, and some of these other teams win, they could jump up. New England wins, and they're going to go jump down. Arizona beating Philly last week screwed themselves. They were the number 2 overall pick, which is where you want to be, I suppose. So let's go back to the schedule. Minnesota at Detroit. A lot of playoff implications here if a bunch of other stuff happens, and the majority of that other stuff that needs to happen will be happening later. So Minnesota win and then pray. They don't care, I don't think. They're doing some weird QB carousel stuff. I think that they understand how important it is to tank. If we go back to the tankathon things right here, Minnesota is 12th overall. If they get into the playoffs, they'll be 19th overall. That's a big difference. And if they lose this game, there's a chance that they could get to like a top 10 pick. And I don't know. I think they're smart about that. And they need a quarterback or sign Cousins or they're trying to win, but they're not trying to win. Therefore, Detroit's favored. Detroit is suspected to play a lot of starters for a portion of the game. And remember, it really doesn't matter. It really does not matter for Detroit until things that happen later, which are going to be Dallas and Philadelphia. So Philly and Dallas are playing in the afternoon. They're both playing in the afternoon. Dallas is playing Washington. Washington is a 13.5-point underdog. The game is important to Dallas, but if Detroit loses, then Dallas is going to rest starters, I would imagine. Well, sometimes. The Eagles need to win, and they need Dallas to lose. So a lot of pressure on Dallas to win this game after they escaped with a bad call last week, but I suspect they'll take care of that. The Broncos and the Raiders are playing, not really relevant at all. I think the Raiders are eliminated. Should we fact check that? Are the Raiders eliminated? I think they are. Yeah, Raiders are eliminated, so that game is irrelevant. Kansas City versus Los Angeles, that game is irrelevant. Except we did hear that Travis Kelce's not going to be at the Golden Globes. Kansas City could clinch the 2 seed, but they need help, I guess. I don't know. And then the nightcap, the winner get in. Winner wins the division. Big time Sunday Night Football game. Fraud watch for the Dolphins. Is Josh Allen the best player in the NFL? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. It's pretty close. I like the Bills big in that game. I like that one. Oh, man. Something's going around. Everybody's got something going around. The Niners, with resting some starters and doing some stuff, McCaffrey's not going to play. The Rams are resting a ton of starters, so that game is do not bet the Rams-Niners game. Don't do it. I like the Commanders to cover and make it really painful and weird for Dallas. The Bears and the Packers game is really important to see who gets in and what seeding will be. If the Packers win, they'll probably play Detroit in the first round. If they lose, they'll probably play at Dallas or at Philly, which is not what you want. You want to win that game. The Bears, Justin Fields missed a bunch of games in the middle of the season. Otherwise, I firmly believe they would be in the playoffs. So the Packers, they need to win, but the Bears are good. They're playing spoiler, which is exactly what Detroit did to the Packers last year. It's not impossible that the Packers can miss the playoffs. I forget who else could get in, like the Seahawks or somebody. It could get a little weird, but I kind of like the Bears to cover and make that one scary. So I like the home underdog Commanders and the road underdog Bears to cover. This game is a big stay away from me for the Vikings. I do like the over, though. So in the NFC North, betting NFC North stuff, over Detroit over, Chicago to cover, and I like the Commanders to make it annoying for the Cowboys. They are a better team, but the Commanders are they're annoying. They really are. As far as other stuff goes, I like the Bills. The Bills are going to cover. Josh Allen's the best player in the NFL, in my opinion. Lamar is the MVP, no question. But I think Josh is the best player in the NFL right now. It's been a little cold, but he's just been lugging this team along. I swear to God. News out of tennis. Super important news from tennis. A reporter bullied tennis player Alex de Minaur into proposing to his girlfriend Katie, if he wins the Australian Open later this month, which is funny. He beat number one, which I think is Novak. I don't know. But what about off the court? In 2005, he proposed to his then girlfriend Beck. Will we get a proposal to Katie after? G's putting me on. Yeah, it's not in the cards just yet. Dude, what a weird. Grow up, mind your business, losers. See you on Monday.